Alright, what's going on, you guys? Brian here, and this is my AEW Dynamite recap, recapping everything that went down on tonight's Go Home episode of Dynamite before this Saturday's Double or Nothing event. Of course, by now everybody has heard the sad and tragic news that Shad Gaspard's body was discovered this morning after being missing for a couple of days. He went missing while swimming with his son on Sunday. Shad, a little bit later, a rip current would catch Shad and his son, and as well as some other swimmers. While rescuers were trying to rescue them, Shad told them to save his son before they saved him. Then, while they were rescuing his son, another large wave came and pulled and crashed into Shad and pulling him under. And then this morning, the news was confirmed that his body was discovered at around 1:30 in the morning by a citizen, and the police were called, and they made it official that it did in fact match the description of Shad. So my condolences go out to his family and friends. There is also a collar and elbow. I believe it's a website. They are releasing a shirt with 100% of the proceeds and going to Shad's family. The shirt says New York or Brooklyn's own beast, Shad Gaspard, heavyweight hero. And if they also announced on their Twitter at Collar and Elbow that if you cannot afford a shirt and you still want to donate, you can make donations via PayPal or send donations via PayPal to Collar and Elbow, and to make sure you put Beast in the notes. And also, there's going to be a GoFundMe page set up shortly for any donations. So a sad and tragic ending to a search for a very talented athlete. He had worked in the WWE. He had teamed up with JTG as Crime Time. They did try to, when they broke the team up, they tried to do something with him as a singles competitor. That really didn't go very far, but because he would be released a little bit later afterwards. But he was a tremendous athlete, so he will be missed. And like I said, my condolences go to his family and friends at this time. Getting into the recap of Dynamite tonight. Of course, tonight's episode was the go-home show before Saturday's Double or Nothing, which will feature a slew of matches, whether it be for championships. We will see the crowning of the first ever TNT championship as Cody takes on the very dangerous Lance Archer. Let me get my notes here. Sorry, guys. We started off the show tonight with the arrival of the Inner Circle, who, of course, will be facing in a 10-man tag team Stadium Stampede match, which will be a Falls Count Anywhere match, and that will be happening at the TIAA Bank Field on the 50-yard line. There will be a ring set up on the 50-yard line. It will be the Inner Circle versus the Elite and Matt Hardy. That will happen on Saturday. They arrived. Jericho talked about the match coming up and that they had a surprise for the for the Elite and Matt Hardy, and I'll get into that in a moment. As far as in-ring action, we heard from the number one contender to the AEW World Title, Mr. Brody Lee of the Dark Order. He hyped up his Golden Boy, 10, and he sent 10 into action against AEW World Champion Jon Moxley. Of course, Brody Lee has possession of the AEW World Title after stealing it a few weeks ago. Not beating Jon Moxley, he just stole it. Moxley looking to send a message to Brody Lee ahead of Saturday night. And he did send a very clear message. Moxley, after defeating 10, put 10's arm in a chair and threatened to break it if Brody Lee did not come out and return the championship. Brody Lee left and said, "You know what? Fine. If you want to, I'm willing to sacrifice that. I'm willing to sacrifice 10." And Moxley lived up to his promise as he would take another chair and hit the chair that was on 10's arm. So that adds more fuel to the fire as far as that particular match is concerned on Saturday night. MJF was in action. He took on Marco Stunt. Of course, Saturday night, MJF will go one-on-one with Marco Stunt's tag team partner in Jurassic Express, along with Luchasaurus, that being Jungle Boy. MJF picked up the win in this particular matchup against Marco Stunt. Afterwards, MJF and Wardlow would go after Marco Stunt until Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus made the save. We had a Jake the Snake Roberts and Arn Anderson segment, or face-to-face segment. Both men making it a war of words that would lead to almost a fight breaking out between the two Hall of Famers. Of course, Jake the Snake representing Lance Archer and Arn Anderson representing Cody. Both men will be in their respective corners coming up this Saturday when Cody and Lance Archer battle it out to see who will become the first ever TNT champion. And the interesting dynamic about this matchup coming up on Saturday is Iron Mike Tyson will be at Double or Nothing to present the championship to the winner. And as we found out on via Arn Anderson, that Tyson has free reign to do whatever he wants. He can walk around the ring. He can sit in the crowd. He has free reign to do whatever he wants. So that's going to be a very interesting dynamic, to say the very least. We heard from Pac, 1/3 of the Death Triangle, sending a message to Orange Cassidy ahead of Cassidy's match against Pac's partner in that Death Triangle group, Rey Fenix, who is, of course, a part of the Lucha Bros with Pentagon, and the Death Triangle with Pentagon and Pac. Phoenix, speaking of which, he picked up a win over Orange Cassidy. Both of these guys will be involved in the Casino Ladder match coming up Saturday, where the winner will get an AEW World Title match, or World Title shot. Orange Cassidy lost because of Kip Sabian's distraction. Kip would come out with a ladder, set it up, and he would sit on top of the ladder. And that was enough distraction for not just Orange Cassidy, but for the referee, which allowed Phoenix to hit a low blow and pick up the win. Then afterwards, a brawl would break out involving some of the participants like SCU, Colt Cabana, and that was pretty much it. There's going to be 9 guys in this match. There's 8 that have already been entered, but there's one last entrant that has not been announced just yet. It'll be interesting to see who turns out to be the 9th individual. We had a women's tag team match which was Chris Statlander and Hikaru Shida, the number one contender to the AEW Women's World Championship. They took on Dr. Britt Baker and AEW Women's Champion Nyla Rose. Nyla Rose picked up the win for her team after hitting the Beast Bomb on Shida. After the match, she was going to splash or deliver a splash to Hikaru Shida through a table. However, with the help of Chris Statlander, Shida would turn it into a superplex, driving Nyla Rose through the table, sending a message to her ahead of Saturday's AEW Women's title match, which is now no disqualification and no countout. We heard from Jon Moxley. He did an interview. He talked about the match coming up on Saturday with him and Brody Lee. There was a SSN News or SSN Sean Spears News or Sean Spears News segment where he talked about Dustin Rhodes retiring, which is not the case. He then challenged Dustin Rhodes to a match at Double or Nothing, and that match is made official. We had a recap of what's been going on between Matt Hardy and Sammy Guevara, leading to the main event. And Matt Hardy defeated Sammy Guevara in a one-on-one match, and then afterwards, a huge brawl would take place between the Elite and Matt Hardy and the Inner Circle at the TIAA Banks Field, where the Inner Circle were going after Kenny Omega, and then the Young Bucks, Matt Hardy, and Hangman Adam Page would make the save. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens in that Stadium Stampede match coming up Saturday night at Double or Nothing. Another match that is going to be taking place on Saturday is going to be Britt Baker taking on Chris Statlander. They ran down the card for Saturday. On the buy-in, it's going to be a number one contenders tag team match with Private Party taking on the Best Friends. They also announced that next week there's going to be a battle royal to determine who will face the TNT champion on June 3rd, on the June 3rd episode of Dynamite. So that should be interesting. That battle royal is going to be happening next week. So that was pretty much it for Dynamite. I thought it was pretty solid leading up to Double or Nothing. I can't wait to see what happens Saturday. I'll probably have my predictions up sometime Friday. So with that being said, this has been my AEW Dynamite recap for tonight's episode. As always, I am Brian, and thank you for watching.